Luton Town are building a 25,000-seat stadium designed for Premier League football. Right now, they're playing in League One. This is the story of Power Court, Luton's £100 million answer to 7 decades of trying to leave Kenilworth Road. Luton Town have played at Kenilworth Road since 1905, and almost from the moment they arrived, the ground was a compromise. The club had been forced to find a new home at short notice, after selling their previous site on Dunstable Road and Kenilworth Road, hemmed in by terrace streets in the Bury Park area of town, was never meant to be a permanent solution. Plans to leave date back to 1955, the year Luton won promotion to the First Division for the first time, and immediately found their stadium too small for the company they were suddenly keeping. Over the following decades, the club tried almost everything. In the 1980s, there was a serious proposal to relocate entirely to the new town of Milton Keynes. In the 1990s, Chairman David Kohler pursued an ambitious, fully enclosed arena nicknamed the Kohler Dome, rejected by the Secretary of State in 1998. In 2007, the club proposed building near a motorway junction outside town, a plan withdrawn almost immediately after a boardroom takeover. Kenilworth Road survived all of it, becoming almost as famous for its eccentricities as for football played there. Away fans still climb a set of steps through a residential terrace to reach the away end, one of the most unusual sights in English football, and the ground's tight, offset layout has made it instantly recognisable, even to fans who've never set foot in Luton. In 2012, the club briefly explored buying Kenilworth Road back from Luton Borough Council and redeveloping it in place, before dropping the idea by 2015 in favour of finding a new site entirely. The site that finally stuck was Power Court, a former power station in the heart of Luton that had sat derelict since the plant closed in 1969. The club purchased the land in 2016 and announced plans for a 17,500-seat stadium, with outline planning permission for a design expandable to 23,000, granted in January 2019. Progress was slow and repeatedly interrupted first by the pandemic, which forced a redesign in 2021, then by a 2023 revision that proposed delivering just 19,500 seats in an initial phase, with a further 4,000 safe-standing seats to follow later. Everything changed that same year for an entirely different reason. Luton Town won promotion to the Premier League for the first time in the club's history, reaching the top flight via the Championship playoffs. Suddenly, a stadium plan built around incremental, budget-conscious phasing looked completely out of step with the club's ambitions. That mismatch was made painfully literal at Kenilworth Road itself. To meet Premier League broadcasting and facility requirements, in time for the 2023-24 season, Luton had to spend an estimated £8 to £10 million on emergency upgrades, including rebuilding an entire stand within roughly 3 months. Chief Executive Gary Sweet called it a bigger logistical challenge than starting the new stadium itself. It was, in effect, the trigger that forced Luton's hand. The club scrapped the phased approach entirely and submitted a new application in September 2024 for a single phase. 25,000 capacity stadium at Power Court, built to top-flight standard from day one. Luton Borough Council approved the revised plans in December 2024. What AECOM and CISA have designed for Power Court leans directly on Kenilworth Road's identity rather than erasing it. The stadium's 4 stands will each be a different height, a deliberate homage to the mismatched, patched-together character of Luton's old home. The design team studied dozens of details from Kenilworth Road, from the tight proximity of seats to the pitch to the ground's famously offset players' tunnel, aiming to carry that intimacy into the new build. The stadium's defining feature is a halo, a rectangular steel lighting frame suspended above the roofline, shaped as a symbolic nod to the straw boater hats once manufactured in Luton and to the club's own nickname, the Hatters. The facade will combine brick with gold copper-toned panels, and Limak International, the Turkish contractor also currently redeveloping Barcelona's Camp Nou, is overseeing construction, with an emphasis on achieving a high BREEAM sustainability rating that the club hopes will make Power Court one of the most environmentally conscious stadium builds in the country. Before any steel could go up, the site needed extensive preparation. Power Court's brownfield history as a power station and former industrial land meant 18 months of remediation. rerouting a section of the River Lea through a new culvert, relocating a major sewer line and an electrical substation, and clearing contamination through archaeological surveys and soil treatment. Piling finally began in January 2026, with the reinforced concrete superstructure following in phases, starting with the north stand and assembly of steelwork scheduled to begin in June 2026. More than 100 workers are currently on site, a number expected to rise to around 300 later in the year, with the project deliberately prioritizing local Luton-based contractors and several apprenticeship placements. The procurement process that landed Limac the contract was overseen by cost consultants Atkins Realis, alongside a wider design and engineering team that includes AKT2 on structural engineering, Max Fordham on sustainability and mechanical systems, and WSP on planning, with site delivery handled by Capital Sky. The club's development arm, 2020 Developments, estimates the wider project will create more than 1,000 direct construction jobs, with a further 1,000+ permanent positions once the full site, including the hotel and music venue, is operational. The complication running through this entire project is timing. Power Court was conceived, redesigned, and ultimately supersized specifically to meet Premier League standards, at a moment when Luton looked like a club on the rise. But Luton were relegated from the Premier League after a single season back in the top flight, dropped again to League One the following year, and as of the 2025-26 season have missed out on the League One playoffs entirely. The stadium, now under construction, is being built to a specification designed around top-flight ambitions for a club currently playing 2 divisions below that level. The opening date has slipped as well, from an original 2027 target to the 2028-29 season, and the widely quoted £100 million figure applies specifically to the stadium itself, the broader Power Court development, which also includes roughly 1,200 homes, a hotel, a health centre, retail space, and a music venue, has been estimated at closer to £450 million in total. Luton are, in effect, building a Premier League ground on League One gate receipts and hoping the team catches back up before the doors open. Unlike some of English football's recently completed grounds, Power Court does not yet have a confirmed naming rights partner, and no sponsorship announcement has been made as construction has progressed. For now, the stadium continues to be known simply as Power Court, after the site itself. What Luton are building is, in its own way, a monument to persistence. 70 years after first admitting Kenilworth Road was too small, and a decade after finally buying the land to replace it, the club is laying foundations for a stadium that pays tribute to the ground it's replacing in every asymmetrical stand and every design detail, while betting that the ambition behind the project outlasts whatever division the team happens to be playing in when the doors finally open. Kenilworth Road itself is expected to be demolished once the move is complete, with a residential development likely to take its place, bringing to an end 123 years of football on a site that generations of Hatters fans have called home despite its limitations. That's the complete story of Luton Town's new stadium at Power Court, a £100 million, 25,000-seat ground built for a club that reached the Premier League and then dropped 2 divisions before construction was even finished, targeting the 2028-29 season as its opening. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching. See you next week.